Hi everyone, I'm the host Shien Biau. Today we are so honored to invite SB Woo, President of 80 to 20 Empowerment PAC and Board of UCA PAC. Hello, Mr. Woo, how are you today?
I'm fine and great to be interviewed by you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Woo, could you make a brief introduction to our audience?
Sure. Well, 80-20 Initiative's mission is to win equal opportunity and justice through the political process. But in the context of today's political atmosphere, where there is the much increased attention between US and China, I can shorten our mission to a few words. That is to protect the rights of Asian Americans, particularly Chinese Americans, and to protect Chinese Americans from being smeared politically.
Thank you.
So that's our mission. Now I want to say that 80-20 is by far the largest political organization in the Asian American, particularly Chinese American community. That is not to say other political action committees don't have skills that we don't have. I think, for example, UAC has much political skills that we can learn from. To illustrate why we are by far the largest, we have a war chest of about $5.2 million, and we have a weekly e-newsletter that will be opened by approximately 34,000 people each time. And over a period of 6 weeks, our weekly e-newsletters will be opened by approximately 80,000 people. So then let me get to the third point. We also don't raise money from outside of the Asian American community. We don't raise money from the government either, because money talks. One has to be careful about how one raises the money in order to be completely independent. Finally, I would say 80-20 has proven to have courage, and we are not partisan. We have spoken and campaigned against Trump. We have spoken and campaigned against Biden. We use conscience as our guide. When we see our rights being stepped on, it doesn't matter which party is doing it. We'll stand up to oppose it. And we don't win all the time, but we are usually pretty effective. So that's my answer to you in terms of making an introduction of 80-20.
Thank you. What a nice introduction about the empowerment and yourself. So, Mr. Woo, can you tell us about the coalition you are forming with other Chinese American political groups?
Sure. We currently have a partner in our coalition that is UCA, which stands for United Chinese Americans. And UCA has a lot of strength that we can benefit from. For example, UCA is always very good in getting people out to do demonstrations. Demonstrations in USA is important because oftentimes the spoken words are ignored, but when they see people standing out there shouting and raising their fists, they pay attention to. That's uniquely America, but that is why UCA has its strength. We also are talking with a few other organizations, trying to make sure that our coalition is large as possible. This coalition has a goal, and it is to defeat some politicians who have really trampled upon Asian American and Chinese Americans. One of them is a U.S. Senator from Tennessee whose name is Marsha Blackburn. She had said something to the effect of something like, it's not an exact quote, the 5,000-year history of China is basically lying and cheating, and that will never change. To me, that will indicate that she's insulting all the Chinese Americans, or all the Chinese who were ever born, because history is not made by the nation. History is made by the people in that nation. And when he said that would never change, when she said that would never change, that also insulted all persons of Chinese descent who will ever be born. So it is extremely insulting. We have initially privately talked to her, asking her to withdraw that tweet and apologize to our committee. She refused upon much communication, and thereafter we told her, okay, we'll see you in 2024 when you run for re-election. That's how things are done in America. If a politician is not willing to listen to reason, the only way to do it is to punish her. Punish may be a large word a shocking word to a lot of Chinese Americans. But hey, friends, we now live in America. Don't think like a Chinese, think like Americans, and do what Americans do. And another person we want to defeat will be a congresswoman in California's 45th district. Her name is Michell Steel. She did something not quite as bad, but that's really bad, which I won't go into at this point. So that's about all I want to say about the Political Action Committee coalition that we are trying to construct. Oh, by the way, I do want to add something. You know, most Chinese American or Asian American organizations are so-called NGOs, non-government associations. Most of them are 501c3 organizations, which means money donated to them are tax deductible so far as the donors are concerned. To do the kind of things UCA PAC and 80/20 PAC are doing, you have to be registered as a political action committee. Otherwise, once 5 tax deductible permit by our IRS will be taken away. So, but that doesn't mean all the Asian American NGO cannot join our movement. They just cannot particularly participate in punishing a politician or helping a politician. They can give us moral support and condemn what these two politicians have done.
Thank you. So what motivated you to form this coalition?
Well, the motivation is, you may not believe it, but it is true. When I ran for lieutenant governor, decades ago, I raised a lot of money from the Asian American, particularly Chinese American community. If I had been elected, I was the elected Lieutenant Governor of Delaware, but then when I ran for the US Senate, I raised even more money from the two communities. And for that, I failed to get elected. And I thought I owe those communities my service, even when I'm no longer a elected official. But I learned a lot about politics through my lieutenant governor's service. So that's the basic motivation. In terms of practical consideration, it is to protect Chinese Americans and Asian American political rights. And it is also partially motivated by knowing that when 5 million Chinese Americans or 20 million Asian Americans are considered second citizens, America cannot be a very good nation. So by helping to protect their rights, I'm helping to make America, quote unquote, a more perfect union, as America's forefathers would wish it. So it's partially the love of my Asian American community, partially the love for America.
Thank you. I've sensed that motivation includes all the community we have. And what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the coalition right now?
Well, the biggest challenge for the coalition is age-old. Asian Americans are mostly too timid. They don't understand they now live in a nation which is the land of the free and home of the brave. Free means when someone steps on you, you're free to oppose that person, say, hey, you're not doing it right. And home of the brave means you got to take some risk and fight hard, not in the Chinese word of 夜来忍受. That's the worst response we can give. And if you have that mind, that you don't understand, you are now living in the USA.
Yeah, thank you. So talking about all this coalition and all this anti-Chinese hateful practices, so what future actions do you want plan to take as a coalition next?
Well, in terms of the immediate future, we're gonna, one, use Blackburn's tweet as a magnet to achieve unity. You see, that's the second weakness that we always have. We are all very smart as individuals. We are not very good in working together. But politically, you got to work together because politics depends on numbers. If one person is nothing, it doesn't matter how smart you are or how many political offices you've achieved in the past, you're nothing. 5 million Chinese Americans working together, oh, that's a lot. 20 million Asian Americans working together, we can change a lot of things. We can make ourselves equal citizens of the USA right away. So in the short term, we want to defeat these two politicians, to tell all American politicians, if you don't tread on us, if you step on us, you'll be punished. That is this is something that I didn't invent. I learned it from the Jewish American communities. We all know how politically powerful the Jewish American politicians are. They understand to be politically powerful, it is not to help this politician or that politician. Oh, that helps, establishes some friendship. But you got to think from the point of view of politicians. When the politicians get elected, whom do you think he or she will credit first? The people who gave them money? Of course not. They will credit themselves first. Oh, I did it. Then they'll credit their own family members for helping them, their campaign staff for helping them. And only after that, they would say, oh, well, you know, this person raised $500,000 for me. I should remember him. But helping can only achieve secondary political power. Punishing is what gives you real political clout. Every politician will say, oh, if AIPAC can defeat Senator Fulbright many decades ago, who was a Democrat, and if AIPAC can defeat Senator Charles Percy, who was a Republican, then when AIPAC calls me, I gotta listen, because I may be their next target. You understand? That's a way to do it, so that not just one or two politicians call you their friend. Every politician say, whoa, when you call me, I better be careful. You have a point to make, and if it's reasonable, I'll listen to it.
Thank you for your answer today. You know, we can learn a lot from your answers. You have really did your duty for our Chinese American community. You know, as the first among Chinese American political group to forge a united front to target the anti-China hateful legislators in the next election cycle is very important and also full of challenges. But I'm so grateful that our Chinese Americans have such an excellent representative like you, who is willing to stand up and lead our community members to protect our political rights and face the unfairness of Chinese Americans. Thank you. I just want to say thank you again.
Well, thank you for the interview. I certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. Again, thank you for coming today, and we will see you next time.
Yes.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.